Thanks again for staying with us on the program TMI as we go straight into the heart of the show on our discussion segment. Okay, we'll begin by taking a look at a major development which of course took place over the weekend. It was the PDP World Congresses held across Edo State as part of our conversations on the road to Edo 2020. I mean, a whole lot is happening in the state. If you've been following stories on ITV, you see what the issues are in the state, particularly with the ruling party. It's now a gale of suspension, particularly yesterday. All of that will form part of our conversations today on the program TMI Tuesday. Let me welcome our panelist, the Publicity Secretary, Edo State Chapter of the PDP, People's Democratic Party, Chris Nehai, is with us in the studio. Chris, many thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
We also have with us a former deputy governorship candidate. I'd like to thank very especially Vincent Obedi for joining us.
Good morning, Sonny.
Okay, we have with us in the studio a former state chairman of the National Youth Council of Nigeria. Is a political activist, public affairs commentator, the convener of Youth Advocates on WhatsApp platform. Many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's begin. Chris, because this has to do with your party, I'll come to you much later in the analysis. But let me begin with my good friend Solomon Ijiogbe. How did you perceive the outcome of the congresses? I heard of some skirmishes, I think, in Edo North. Someone say politicians never learn from history. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, skirmishes and politics are like cement twins. They go together. You have agreement, disagreement. There's never going to be a time you're going to have a free flow of political play, especially when it has to do with congresses. And when you say congresses, you mean you're going to talk about elections, getting a few persons to take over positions from the ones that are outgoing. And so you're going to have those who believe they should have been the ones there, and those who believe that we are the ones there now, and we will get it anyhow. And so when you hear about those pockets of skirmishes left, right, and center, it's not a new thing when it comes to political parties. But to talk about the People's Democratic Party as a party whose party primaries were actually tried to look at is, well, I hope and I wish that this primary is going to put them on the right path. Okay. Because if you ask me sincerely, with all due respect, I think they've actually not been acting as an opposition party, even most recently. But at this time, having the minds sitting together to, amidst all the crises they've gone through, imagine the defection of the major candidates and the major stakeholders, and still feel that there's a need to sit down and restructure, because when there are vacuums, there needs to be a replacement. Well, of course, it's the right step in the right direction, if only they are able to learn from the mistakes they made yesterday.
All right, Vincent, you want to share your thoughts with us along those lines too?
Yeah, well, the issue of violence in congresses, normal, as my colleague said, in politics, at times you expect things like that, but like this very recent, this Saturday congresses, like the South TV saga, the one in Ward 6 already do, Ward 7 already do, and things like that. Those are things we are expecting in Congress, especially in the situation like what we have in this part of the world anyway. Situation whereby you see politicians believe that, oh, if it's not me, the issue of, they tell you in politics, it's no permanent friend, no permanent enemy, permanent interest. But here, people put forward the permanent interest alone. They forget about every other attribute of politics. So because of that permanent interest, people want to do everything possible to make sure that they get everything to themselves alone. But the issue of the PDP Congress that they just did, personally, I won't lie you, I'm not a PDP member, but I will give it to them. To an extent, they try, because I've seen congresses in this state where lives have been lost, and there's some other things like that, vehicles burned. Yeah. Those ones did not occur in this Saturday, whatever. So I believe they're improving on the previous congresses they've been having before.
So they've learned from history.
Yeah, they've learned from history to an extent, But I still want to urge them to improve, to do better on this in their subsequent Congress, because I don't want to make sure of names of other parties. Like the smaller parties, when they do their congresses, you hardly hear of any violence or things like that, because the people who are made up of those smaller parties are gentlemen who actually want to touch the life of the ordinary man, unlike what we have in the major parties. The major parties, they just go anywhere they go, they just go and pick in anybody who is not refined, who is not trained, who have no knowledge about anything about governance or how to manage resources or whatever, and say, oh, these are the important, and say, these are our chieftains. I tell you, go and pick somebody from the dump site, so to say, and make him a chieftain after empowering. What do you expect when it comes to congresses, when it comes to election proper? It's violence. But thank God today, the one that happened in this Saturday election was just according to the story that the man, the Sati-BM Raga, wanted to impose somebody and things like that.
Yeah.
So if that man was a gentleman, as I've said, you have no business leaving your word to another word and say you want to, whatever you get there, you take it. Yeah. So I believe subsequent election, he won't try such thing. Okay. I'm not that I'm supporting what happened to him anyway, but this is just an advice. Yeah. A subsequent election...
It's either you are against what happened to him or you are in support of what happened to him, because we must call a spade a spade. What is right, what is wrong. Yes.
So, but in totality, if you look at the whole thing, the man that was asked to come and conduct it, the governor, Makinde from... he said the election was fair, and they gave a very high score to the vote. So as far as the eye of the PDP, they said everything was normal. To me, everything is normal.
Okay, all right, Chris, because you can't really be a judge in your own case, but we'd like to find out from you what measures were taken for us to have gotten thus far with the congresses. I know that there were some issues, heralding the Congress, but somehow it looks like, to a large extent, it came out the best way it could under the circumstances previous. So what were the things put in place?
I think the two speakers actually spoke in such a way for you to understand that these things have been exaggerated. First and foremost, in politics, especially in situations like this, in congresses, 192 wards holding Congress simultaneously. 1 or 2 skirmishes in 1 or 2 wards. I don't think that's enough for anyone to say the Congress was not successful. In fact, I will pass it as being very successful. We had a fortunate incident of our former House of Assembly member who got into an argument with other people in his local, in another ward, another zone, another ward, and that was resolved almost immediately, and then we mentioned Ward 6 and Ward 7 in Oredo. I'm not very aware of what happened there, but from the reports we have as a political party, I think we'll give ourselves kudos at our tap on the back. And also to go back to history, PDP has consistently held peaceful and quiet, transparent primaries. We've never had issues of death or fighting. But people make the mistake. It's APC, our government party, that have recorded deaths, recorded burning of vehicles, recorded destruction to properties and human life in their primaries. Go back and you'll discover that PDP, at no time have we ever done or had primaries or congresses that have been violent. You remember when Pastor Zayam came to PDP, the year he came to PDP, it was as a result of the violence that erupted in their congresses in APC in 2012, 2013. That is what encouraged him and his people to come. And before then, under ACN, they also have deaths. At least my local government, APC have always recorded violence. So there's no time, no Congress that PDP has had that we've had violence. Like I said, 1 or 2 skirmishes in 1 or 2 wards cannot be determined as congresses were mad with violence.
Okay, so the outcome of the congresses
is actually very proud of our members and our leaders with the way they conducted themselves in this Congress.
Isn't it too quick to give this kind of blanket assessment against the background that you also have the local government congresses coming up and then you have the state congress coming up? Isn't it too quick?
In politics, it's never too quick. We have 3 stages. We've had the first stage of ward congresses in 192 wards, and we have a peaceful, transparent, quiet, successful Congress. In the next election, we're having just 18 congresses, 18 local governments. if in 192 locations we can have a successful Congress, you can imagine how 18 local governments or 18 locations will come up. It will be even more peaceful because the building block has been set properly. And going to the next level, our leaders, our members are determined to have successful congresses to make this as peaceful and as seamlessly as possible. And we're encouraging them.
Okay.
We're giving a free hand to choose who their leaders, who they want their leaders to be. And they've done that. They've showed a lot of maturity and a lot of integrity in handling that first assignment. The next one, I believe, will go exactly the same way.
Okay. Solomon, would you subscribe to any insinuation that maybe with the level of defections in the PDP, that may also have midwifed the way the Congress went, particularly the World Congress?
Yes, I'll say so. I'll agree with you if you say that, because I watched the clips from some of the congresses they had, and if you look at the numbers, I don't want to say it's not much, but it shows to me that is a gathering of like minds. Well, if you look at congresses that are violent, of course, I'm not a prophet, but I'm not going to expect as peaceful as we experienced last week from the opposition party. I mean, the ruling party, as it were. Reasons. If you look at the congresses they had, you would understand that there was not so much inflow of the largesse, if you like, brand envelopes, and the usual I want to be there, because there's actually nobody within the folds of the political party that it's at the governmental stage, at the state level, at the local government, or if you like, at the national level, except for the fact that they have a few senators and a few members of the House of Reps who, of course, would interpret that there's not so much competition, as it were. And so, if you ask me again, I'll say, I see a better, like he said, I see a better primaries for them at the level of the local government, if they are able to coordinate themselves. Now, come to say whether because of the defection that happened, of course you know that the major busters, so to speak, or those who have created some level of jostling had left.
Please, so sorry to interrupt you, sir.
No, just let him establish the point. We'll come to you.
This point was established when he first made it.
Please hold on. He will come to you. When you just hold on.
The point.
Hold on. You hold on. We will come to you to respond.
The point will be lost.
No, the point will not be. So
the narrative goes out that major boxers have left my party, it is wrong.
You take note of the point so that you respond appropriately, so that we don't make it rowdy. Yeah, that's the point I want to establish.
Yes. Mr. Nehai wants to take it from that angle. You will not disagree with me that Pastor Sagi Ezeyamo is not a major stakeholder in your then PDP as it then was, and that his exit would have taken a whole lot of chunk from your side, whether rightly or wrongly. So I do not think my assertion or my claim or my position is out of place. But like I said, just like if some persons leave the ruling party today, there will be a shake. Whether you say at the national level, at the state level. So the point is, if some persons go to sleep in the ruling party today, some of this pocket of crisis you are seeing will naturally fizzle out. So that's the point I'm trying to make, and that's the point I'm making. That yes, of course, that some of these persons who may be seen to have interests, for now, there are no major stakeholders, as it were, that you can pinpoint and say this is a major player in this 2020 gubernatorial elections, as it were. But if some persons were still there, you could, without mentioning words, say this person is going to be a flag bearer or is a potential flag bearer of the party, and that could generate some level of heat, agitations. And you know, politics is about lobbying. Yeah. People wanting to show off, to display loyalty that may not necessarily be needed. Yeah. And then there's this need, there's this markets of lies, purchase and sales of lies, just to woo and undermine certain groups and all that. So that is not there now because some persons are not there.
Okay.
But that is not to say that it may not come up
as we progress
because,
and gets higher.
Yeah, because after the primary, the
yes.
local government primary,
yes.
then the state primary,
yes.
the state congress,
yes, the state congress,
electing the state chairman and the executive of the state,
okay.
and then the primaries of the state. There sure will be fallout because there will be persons who will feel I was cheated, I was played out, and then you'll still see some persons even from the ruling party, I mean the opposition party as it is, the ruling party, vice versa. But after the primaries of the ruling party, of course some persons will feel uncomfortable or want to go, depending on their first. And so it's a matter. And I do not think that we should begin to paint anything with beautiful colors. Okay, because politics is all about interest, like my brother have mentioned. It's in Nigeria today, politics, as we know, is a game of interest, personal interest, inordinate ambition, and just go on.
All right, let me get Vincent in. Yeah, Vincent, what are your thoughts on this issue of defection and the outcome of the primaries of the PDP World Congresses?
Yes, it's normal for politicians to decamp from one party to the other. There's no doubt about that. And the issue of Congress and those who left the party, well, to a very large extent, as my colleague here have said, what really causes that issue of violence in the Congress is that, like what the PDP are doing, the issue of this delegates system of electing who fly the party's flag in elections. So if you must be there, if you must win the candidacy of any party, yes, that does the delegates system of whatever, you must from the world level begin to fix your people into executive position. Okay. So that by virtue of their position, they are already delegates when it comes to the governorship primaries or whatsoever. So in order to get that, if I'm ambitious, if I'm a member of PDP, for instance, I have the ambition of becoming the governor, and this man here, my brother here, has the ambition of becoming the governor, same with Mr. Nekari here. So at the end of the day, you see, I want to fix my people, you want to fix it so, you want to fix it so, but crisis will erupt. There's no doubt about that. Yes. So crisis will come. That's what actually causes all these crises. But as it is now in PDP, what I believe the issue of the crisis wasn't that, because I said, to me, I will give it to them when it comes to that ward election that the Congress just did, because it was at least one of the most peaceful I've seen, apart from those few words they just mentioned. So why I believe it's like this is that, rumor had it that the present governor, I don't know how correct is it, might come to PDP, because some PDP chieftain outside and within the state are already endorsing him. Then, secondly, if you look at the PDP presently, you've not seen any person, any vow, any person that has any interest, apart from those that left now, were the ones who were saying, oh, we want to come back.
But there are a lot of people that have indicated interest. I mean, if you go around the city, you find they have offices established, they are moving, they are interacting, they are mobilizing, they are networking.
Yes.
So we can say there are people.
Mr. Sonny, we are politicians.
Yes.
I know what I'm talking about. Somebody can come.
You are a politician, I'm a media practitioner. So we see everything. Yeah.
So the issue of having offices and we have major contestants, I will have
minor contestants, but they are contestants or aspirants.
Yes. Those will just say, okay, let me see how I can gather one or two persons and later give it to Mr. A to see how he can measure.
Okay, so you see some of them in that category. All right, let me pause it because we don't have much time. Let me come to Chris now. Chris, I knew you were very emotional trying to respond to some of the issues that Solomon raised, but I'd like to get your thought. I think it's in line with, has defections affected the PDP? Has it in any way resulted in the kind of World Congress that you had last Saturday?
You see, politics is dynamic. Membership of political parties is voluntary. Nobody puts you by force in any political party you belong to. When people go in or go out, there's no way there's not an effect. And nobody can deny that. Yes, there's an effect. Membership increases, membership decreases all the time. Now, we had our last candidate who left our party and went to the other party. The question you should be asking is, why did he leave PDP? Is it because PDP is so organized now, determined to have free, fair, and transparent primaries, whereby nobody can use sentiment to get the party ticket? Is it because PDP is so organized that the challenge to get ticket is harder? These are things to think about. Yes, Pastor was our last candidate. He has left the party, and the party has moved on. We too have received many people that have joined our party since he left. We've not had fanfare, because I'm sure you are aware that there's a ban on political rallies across the state. And we don't want to disobey the laws of the land. Absolutely. To start having rallies, shouting on the streets, and creating impression and all that. We don't want to do that. At the appropriate time, PDP will do that. We've had many people from the government party, from APC, that have joined us. And just to quickly say one thing, the governor, Obaseki, has not approached PDP, that is coming to PDP. And as a political party, we are better off when homegrown members fly our flag. We have had the misfortune of giving our ticket to people that people perceive are big politicians. Where are they today? We gave it to General Charles in 2012. Has gone to, when he lost, he went to APC. We gave it to Pastor Zayamo in 2016. When he lost, he has gone to APC. This time, we, the stakeholders of PDP, are going to give you one of our people who have the interest of the party and of the membership and of the people at heart. Not those that are, their interest is just to use it as a vehicle to attain power. Now, we had a free and fair primaries. Deliberately, we had at least 4 or 5 governorship aspirants. The primaries of party elections, they did what they needed to do, but we all worked together in sync. Because for you to be able to get power, you all have to work in sync, hand in glove, for you to have a seamless process, which is what we have done. Because you don't benefit from crisis. Yeah. You don't benefit from crisis. So everybody fell in line. The national secretary of our party organized the primaries. The state PDP did not have an input in those that they sent out. Everybody came from outside the town. The head of the committee was the governor of Oyo State, who sat down and signed every result sheet, signed every photocopy of result sheet, took their serial number, and made sure these are things that came back. This was done deliberately for Edo people to see that PDP is the only alternative they have now to liberate them from the battle and from the desperation in the other party. Okay. Now, sorry, sir. Yeah. Our membership is growing. But then, no matter the size of the political party, if you are not connected to the people of Edo State, you do not win the governorship. Okay. That's the much time will permit us to take on the discussion segment of TMI. But before we let you guys go, there is a consensus of opinion that the state is being heated up right now politically. What's your advice?
I need to advise the ruling party that it is not always nice to heat up politics the way they are heating it up. Thank God we are observing it's not the ruling party against the opposition party. It's a case of Peter Goat eating Peter's yam. They should sit down in their closet and resolve their problems in the benefit and for the benefit of Edo people.
All right, Vincent.
Yes, I want to urge the state governor, Governor Obaseki, that whatever happens today, history will always remember that during Obaseki's time, A, B, C, and D happened. So he should do all he could to encourage the security agencies to ensure that all this crisis everywhere is being stopped by security agencies.
All right, Chris.
Well, we advise Edo people to take note of the desperation of the APC and vote them out at the appropriate time. The government and the party, no matter which cloak they wear, everybody that's associated with APC today needs to be taught a lesson that there's a consequence for irresponsibility, a consequence for impunity, and a consequence for desperation. Edo people should take note of that and make sure they are dealt a serious blow at the next election. No matter the size of a political party, the people of the state are the ones that determine who should rule them. We cannot allow hooligans, gun-toting, shooting people to continue to hold the affairs of the part of the state to ransom. Okay. Liberation time is now.
Thank you, Chris Nekai, Vincent Obede, and of course Solomon Ichukwe. Thank you for your time, in spite of the challenge of getting here as a result of the huge traffic on the Boa axis this morning. It's the TMI. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with you for the rest of the program and bring it to a logical conclusion. Stay with us.